Sarkisian, his former offensive coordinator, who said it's like having another quarterback on the field. When he comes off the field, he can tell me what the defense is doing. He can recall everything that he sees, and he makes me better at my job. And you see he's so silky smooth in terms of getting in and out of breaks, getting off the line of scrimmage. I don't care what his size is. This guy's going to be a star in the NFL.
Yeah, look, as long as you can get off the line of scrimmage in the NFL, you're going to be fine because the game is not as physical in between the numbers anymore. That's just a fact. The league doesn't want it that way. They're not playing against Mel Blount and Ronnie Lott and Jack Tatum and Kenny Easley anymore. So his size is not going to be a factor as far as taking big hits down the field. And quite honestly, there may be only 2 or 3 teams that really press you in the true sense of the word press. Everyone else gets up there, likes to look pretty, likes to imitate Lester Hayes, but then they just open the gate and let people have free releases. There's a reason why people are throwing for 4,000 yards like it's Madden, like it's a video game. It's because no one's challenging anybody. So I think Devonta's going to be fine. He can smoke you anyway, even if you do challenge him at the line, because he's got those tap dancing type of feet, and he's got brilliant route running ability. I wouldn't be concerned about his durability from a size perspective at all as far as taking shots. Now, as far as, soft tissue injuries and stuff, you worry about that with every wide receiver because of how much running they do. But I think he'll be fine from a size perspective.
Yeah, Lewis, I love the fact that you brought up the press at the line of scrimmage. We did a touchscreen of him at the line of scrimmage versus press yesterday. I put it on Twitter, and Tony Dungy responded. I want to share with everyone, Tony Dungy, Super Bowl winning coach, responded back with, he said, "This is a 75-year-old question, Dan, and it has the same answer today. Size is a factor, but ability trumps lack of size in special cases. Marvin Harrison will be able to get open in the NFL. Will work done be able to gain yards? Will Robert Mathis get sacks? Kyler Murray? Yes, yes, yes." That was in response to my question, will 166 pounds matter? Tony Dungy doesn't think it does. And the last 2 things I'd say is this. Quarterbacks care about one thing with receivers. Dude, can you get open? We don't care how you get open. We don't care what it takes to get open. Can you get open? When you're open, do you catch the football? And if you catch the football, what do you do with it? That is Devonta Smith's strengths, okay? Now, Marvin Harrison, didn't play with him, but I played with Reggie Wayne. And I think there's something for Devonta Smith to learn from Reggie Wayne. Catch the ball, get your yards, get down. You don't got to prove how tough you are in the NFL. Catch the ball, get your yards, get down.
Yeah, Todd brought up the leadership of Devonta Smith, and I wanted to take that one step further. In watching him on Alabama sidelines over these past few years, the quarterbacks, who most of them were relatively young. You think about Jalen Hurts, you think about Tua Tagovailoa, who dealt with some injuries during his time, Mac Jones, who was coming in and having to win over that team, having not been the starter. Devonta Smith was who they took their cue from. A lot of times when things were happening in the game, they would go up to Devonta to be like, okay, what should I be doing? What should I be saying here? I don't think you can overstate the leadership skills and that mentality. It is for a receiver, right? And I don't mean to downplay what receivers do, but it is so rare to see somebody behave that way. All right, we got more coming your way on NFL Live. Coming up, Atlanta might have the most intriguing pick of the draft at number 4, setting the table for the future of the franchise. Find out why our NFL Live draft room is torn about what they should do. I think this one's going to get the most feisty. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely.
Atlanta,
we're bringing the heat, bringing the juice.
I'm at the top of the top of the top of the top going crazy. And this feels
what we know.
Off the board. We have our lead scout, Todd McShay, our head coach, Dan Orlovsky, and our GM, Louis Riddick, all 3 in the draft room in Arizona. They've got 2 minutes until they need to submit their pick, and the clock starts now. Dan, head coach, give us your case first.
All right, Louis, I'm an offensive-minded head coach, and I got Kyler Murray, and I want to get the football out of my hands to some special playmakers. But we got to stop some people on defense. And I know we've got Alfred, and I know we got Malcolm Butler, but I want to go get Greg Newsome from Northwestern. I think he's rangy. I think he's long. I love the fact that he was coached from Pat Fitzgerald or by Pat Fitzgerald. I think he's got a high level of intellect playing that secondary. And just speaking it from an offensive perspective, I think he's going to make it very difficult to throw the ball his way in a zone defense. I love offensive players. We need to go get Greg Newsome.
Cliff Kingsbury came in for a reason, to open things up, to be multiple, to have 4 or 5 wide receivers, and to throw the ball. You're not the head coach anymore. I'm making the decisions until Lewis does. But to me, I understand corner, and that makes sense, but I've got to go with Elijah Moore. Yes, he's 5'9.5", 178 pounds, but he ran a 4.35 at his pro day. He led the FBS coming out of Ole Miss in receiving yards and receptions this past year. He's explosive. He's dynamic. He's exactly what we brought Cliff in to do, and not why we seemingly have you as the head coach.
Well, I'm going to say this. Look, I think we have enough firepower on offense. I think our offensive line is going to be absolutely rock solid. I think we're going to be able to run the football. I think we have enough firepower on the perimeter. We have a nice complement of wide receivers, and Kyler Murray, I think, is set up now to succeed. On the defensive side, look, for Vance Joseph, we need some people who can cover because he likes the pressure. So I'm going to say this. I need a man cover guy, and I'm going to trust my medical staff right now. I'm going to say this. Hey, look, you guys are telling me I can draft Caleb Farley. You're going to tell me he's a great value at this pick relative to the risk he poses from a medical perspective. Caleb Farley is the pick from Virginia Tech, and we're riding with defense.
Right down to the wire there, Lewis. I love it. I mean, and listen, he's got the back issues, but you feel good about this, Lou. I mean, you went ahead and overrode the other two guys, and you're going with Caleb Farley.
Yeah, well, see, I know that they still like the player. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn to the medical department that's gonna be sitting right next to me, the doctor and the trainer, and I'm gonna go just like this.
You better trust that group, man.
It's on you.
Hey, you told me now, and you know what? I think there's going to be I think right around this area, when the real draft kicks off, there's going to be people having that discussion too, because Caleb can play now. He can cover just about anybody.
Yeah, he can.
Had he not,
I think it's a great pick, Lewis. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, well, Todd's over there like we should have gone offense, but had Farley not, missed the time with injury, had he not dealt with some of that, I think we'd be talking about him as the top cornerback available in this draft. All right, Dolphins GM Chris Grier was talking today about this. We're going to get to that in a moment, but you see Devonta Smith and that 166, okay? It's a number that is going to continue to be talked about because that's what he weighed in at the medical checks in Indy. Now, listen, we knew he was undersized compared to some other guys, right? But this 166 has stuck out to some people. I mentioned GM Chris Grier. This is what he says about size issues.
Okay. Those guys have shown that they've been good players, at a high level of play in the SEC, and but that goes for a lot of players around the country. I just think the game has changed a little bit, and I think these smaller players are given more room and freedom to showcase their talents.
I think what he said about the game has changed is really important. Grier may not be concerned with Smith's size, but only 3 wide receivers have eclipsed 1,000 yards receiving in a season while weighing under 180 pounds over the last 10 seasons. Those receivers, though, Deshaun Jackson, Emmanuel Sanders, and John Brown, they've all done it multiple times. To be fair, none of those receivers drafted in the last 10 years were also Heisman Trophy winners like Smith. We certainly saw him put on a show last season. Now, Todd, we rarely ever see guys play at this weight. So what is the comp for Devonta Smith?
Make it 4, Laura. This guy's special. He really is. I've done 6 games in the last 2.